Welcome to the Unpacking Sunday podcast, where we take a deeper look at what God is speaking to you, to our church, and to the world around us. So grab a coffee, sit back, and let's unpack it together. Michael Perks.
We're back.
We are back. Unpacking Sunday right here.
Yes. What a sunny day.
It's beautiful. You're like, it was really blazing through the window earlier, but...
Well, you have this luxurious studio
It's
now.
a very nice space. I'm very, very happy. I'm grateful.
Yeah, it's very bright
Mm-hmm.
and sunny.
Mm-hmm.
People should come visit you.
They're always welcome.
Yeah.
Just not on Sunday when I'm not here. Guitars could grow legs and...
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Lock the door.
yeah, that sort of thing. But when I'm here, come on in.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. How's your day going?
Good. I went outside and I worked outside all day.
Okay.
Like I just sat out on a table.
Oh, amazing.
You know me. I love being outside.
You love a patio, Mike.
I love a patio.
Yeah.
So I went and found one, brought my books, brought my computer.
Sweet. Love that.
And sat outside. So my wife did tell me I have a sunburn on my neck
Okay.
now.
Okay.
But
Cool.
what I call it is a tan in progress.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I have two colors, pink or white.
Okay.
There are no other colors
No, that you
for
don't.
me.
You don't code bronze in?
We don't do that.
No. I am blessed with my mother's skin, who my mother is kind of...
What did she?
She turns
what does
bronze.
she wear if you have her skin?
She's just like...
She also has skin.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you did there, Dad.
Yeah.
I get it. But yeah, no. So I do have an initial burn, but then it just gets kind of
More
darker and
bronze.
darker and darker through the summer. So it's nice.
Wow, luxury life.
Yeah, well, you know.
Speaking of luxury life, on a quick side note, did you see those celebrities that went to space?
I saw it. I was really confused because there's all these things where like how it was fake but
Maybe it was fake.
yeah, I don't know.
It seems crazy.
But I saw that and I was like, oh, this must be some weird music video that someone like cracked a joke about. And
yeah, with Jeff. They went up with Jeff.
yeah, right.
Jeff
Right.
Bezos.
Katy Perry was one of them, right?
Yeah.
That's right. That's why I thought it was a Katy Perry video or
Like
something.
Gail King was up there.
That's
all
weird.
all
yeah, with
women.
Gail, right,
6
yes.
women
Wow.
and Jeff.
And Jeff. Wow.
Went to space for 11 minutes
Okay.
and then came back and transformed human beings.
Yeah, I guess.
So,
Wild.
yeah.
So weird. What a weird time we live in.
Yeah. So anyway, let's unpack Sunday.
Let's do it. Pastor Jeevan brought the word on Sunday.
It was Palm Sunday.
It was Palm Sunday.
What a fun day.
Lots of high fives on Palm Sunday.
Did you do a lot of high fives?
No, it's a joke because palm, right?
Oh, palm, that kind of palm. Palm Sunday.
It wasn't
Okay.
a funny joke.
Yeah.
Never claimed for it to be funny, but yes. Palm Sunday, which is, it's the triumphant entry. Triumphant?
Yeah.
Triumphant
take it.
entry.
Either way.
But at the same time, there's from that perspective of knowing what happens, the whole story is beautiful, yet there's kind of a dark and a sadness to it a little bit as we approach Good Friday, right?
Mm.
So, yeah. So with the empty, because they're yelling, "Save us now!" Right? That's the Hosanna, save us, save now.
Right.
And so it's the crowd with their empty wishes, not wanting from Jesus what he truly had to offer. What they wanting is a reigning ruler to overthrow the Roman government, but
Which he did.
he did.
Yeah, and he still is.
Yeah, that's right. That's true.
Yeah, but it's not the way that we expected. That's
Never
most
is, is it?
certain. Yeah, and so here we are recording this like in the middle of Holy Week or in the middle of Passion Week, Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday. So Jesus has shown up on the scene. He's like, by this point in that week, he would have flipped tables in the temple already.
Yeah.
That's the first thing he did.
Right.
He went and cleared out the temple.
Right.
What else would have happened at this point, Luke?
Well, he definitely cursed a fig tree.
Cursed a fig tree?
Yeah. That's true.
And so if you're reading the story, Wednesday like marks this day where the religious leaders are beginning this plot to kill Jesus.
Right. And
They
tomorrow,
do not like what he's up to.
Right. Tomorrow, Thursday, would be one of my favorite stories of the Bible, where is with the alabaster jar, as you well know. That would be tomorrow night, it was really recently really moved me. And Jesus talks about it in Luke, I think, how because the people in the room are saying she's wasting money, right? She's wasting this money, and he's saying like basically this is his burial preparation.
She's anointing me for burial.
Yeah, yeah. And like, that's a kind of a wild realization. And it's like, did Mary know that, or was she just expressing, in that moment, was she just expressing her love and appreciation for Jesus?
Mm-hmm.
And really what it was she was actually blessed with this honor of preparing his body for burial.
And that story's fascinating because it's told in a couple of the Gospels and always in a different spot.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's interesting because sometimes it's told on Thursday, right? And then if you read it, I think if you read it in Mark, I think Mark is the one you're talking about actually. But if you read it in one of the other Gospels, it actually happens before he shows up, like the night before when he's in Bethany.
Wow.
And then he's anointed. So some people are wondering, hey, does this happen multiple times? Are there multiple women? Yeah. One time it's just called a sinful woman does this. One time she's named Mary. Right. And so people wonder, like, is that the same person? Did it happen a couple times? But I think like what you're saying is the correct inference from this story, right? Is this idea of like extravagant worship and leading up to Jesus' burial and what he had accomplished for us. So what do we draw from all of this? Like, we're sitting in the midst of this week. If you didn't know, we have a church devotional you can be reading along with this week. But how do we walk this all out? Like, there's tons of stuff happening. And if we're actually being conscious of like remembering each day, you know, unpacking Palm Sunday, it's a remarkable day. You know, perhaps one of the only days that we read about where people both were aware of who Jesus could be, even though perhaps slightly misplaced, and excited about it. Because then quickly people are aware of who he could be and are not that happy about it. But so it's this fascinating day, and then it quickly begins to unravel. So what marks your like Passion Week or Holy Week typically? Yeah.
Well, you know, it's funny. I can find myself guilty a little bit because, you know, around here, Easter's obviously a big deal and Good Friday. So there's a lot of prep. So there's a lot of details to be taken care of and everything like that. But I do find myself in the midst of it kind of like being emotionally stirred in a deeper way than I normally would be as I'm preparing. Just all of a sudden I find myself kind of like thanking Jesus. Like, I'm even feeling emotional right now as we're talking about it. But yeah, it's just like, so I'm working on memorizing these songs and making sure I'm prepped for Sunday. And it's like, it just hits it a different way. It's like, much like how Jesus wants to impact our life. It's like, I'm living my normal week with, of course, this extra stuff on top of it because of this week. But I find him impacting me, his story impacting me in a more pertinent way. I just find myself a little closer to tears this week, a little, you know, my heart is reaching out to God and thanking him in a little bit, you know, more of a, just like an authentic kind of a deeper way this week, you know? So, you know, and I usually live my life like that, but it's like, I'm actually working my way through Matthew right now in a biblical study. And, it's just like, we're at a point where, in Matthew, the way that he's laid it out is kind of 11 and 12 are really pivotal moments. Chapter 11 or 12 are really pivotal moments of where the actual like official rejection of Israel happens to Jesus in chapter 12. And then from there, his ministry changes, right? And yeah, it's just kind of been an interesting thing as I'm listening through it, just as Jesus is, you know, speaking, it's kind of coming to a hilt to this point where the actual official denial of him being for this generation of Israel. And yeah, I just find it like it's just hitting a little harder this week, you know? Yeah, for me. How about you, Mike? What do you find yourself leaning into this week as you prepare for Sunday?
Specifically this week, like I can't quite remember like every Easter week. This week I'm like reminded of, I don't know, I'm just trying to keep like what Jesus is accomplishing close to my heart. And I think like so quickly we can be just like everybody that we read about in the story. And like when things are going well, we welcome Jesus with open arms.
Wow, yeah.
And then when it doesn't go well, or when other people begin to question who he is and what he's up to, and is what he's doing really good. Like even I think it's today. I don't quite remember the order of the devotionals that we wrote for the church, but like it is on Wednesday where we begin to hear of Judas preparing to betray Jesus. No. And we can so quickly get all on Judas's case, like as if you would hand in the Savior of the world for 30 pieces of silver. But there have been many times in my life where I've done it for much less than 30 pieces of silver. Wow. I've done it because I want to be comfortable, or I've done it because it doesn't seem cool in that moment. And so I've denied Jesus and betrayed him for less than 30 pieces of silver. And so I'm so reminded of that this week, maybe more than other years, of just like, how do I keep it close? Like that Jesus really is who he said he is. And even if it doesn't make sense, and even if it's going to be difficult, and even if at moments it seems hopeless, he is able to do what he said he's going to do. And like he tells this fascinating parable this week, the parable of the tenants. Right. What on earth, right? Where the owner of this vineyard has entrusted his vineyard to these tenants, and then he sends these servants to go and to bring home the fruit from the vineyard. And instead of the tenants surrendering the fruit, they have nothing to give them, and instead they stone and beat and murder the servants of the owner of the vineyard. And so what the owner does is, instead of sending servants, he sends his own son. And they still plot to kill the owners of the vineyard's son. And of course Jesus is telling this parable of himself, right? That there have been many servants of God who have come before to bring home God's inheritance, which is the fruit of Israel, to him, and they have cast them aside, and now they're about to do the same thing to his own son, right? And I was just like, oh my goodness, like I'm so convicted, like what fruit am I bearing for God in my life? And also like how quickly would I rather rid myself of Jesus than simply work hard to bear fruit for him. And so I think that that's what I'm like holding on to this week as I prepare for Good Friday is, and like even today, I'm just like you said, there's a lot of prep. If you work at a church, there's a lot of prep for Easter, a lot of prep, a lot of pressure, a lot of expectation and hope for what God wants to do. But just what a sobering reminder, like as you walk through and allow yourself to walk through like each of these days, especially Good Friday. Like sometimes we can skip over it, you know, and not everybody I know has the privilege of maybe being off work on Good Friday or coming to church, but I would hope that we remember it. Right. And like how astronomical this would have been for those first disciples of Jesus to see like what they thought was their great hope pass away because they wouldn't have fully understood all that was happening. Right. And I was struck today, and like we'll talk on Friday, is like that Jesus at his death said it's finished. It was perfect just for him to die. That was actually enough. Right. Wow. And then Easter is like this great like icing on the cake.
The bonus.
And I'm just like, oh, but actually it's not just death. We have new life. Right. And so like it was finished. It was perfect. And like, so I'm excited for that because I was just reading about that word. We've all heard it, tetelestai, right? It is finished. And it means it's paid in full. Wow. But it's the same word that an artist or a carpenter would use, you know, or you would use, like you're a songwriter, where you write the song and you listen to it finally, and it's exactly how you wanted it to be. And you kind of step back and you take a deep breath and you say, it's done. It's perfect. And that's the idea. And I was just like so blown away that like, wow, it actually says in order that it would be finished, Jesus said, I thirst. And so there was one last thing that he had to do. And then he takes this drink of bitter wine and then he says, it is finished and it's done. And I was like, what a great gift we've been given. So let's look forward to that. Like, that's what I would say. Let's look forward to it. What are you looking forward to this? I know like, you can be as practical as you want because I know you work hard this week. What are you looking forward to this weekend?
I think like every time it comes around, Good Friday hits in a way that is always shocking for me. So, it surprises me every time, and I think it's that emotional just kind of realization. It's like, this is the moment, this is the time, this is when it was finished, and then for me, that it's just that journey towards Easter. So yeah, I think it's just celebrating the greatest victory that was ever achieved, and how, I fully revel in that victory. My life is completely set on a course because Jesus died on the cross, and so it's like, so I think I can, church will Easter Sunday will be over, and I'll find myself on my way home, and I'll probably just like cry and thank Jesus again for all he's done. Cause it's like, it's just like, it's what we live for, and so, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful. And every time it comes, it's like, it's hard to prepare emotionally for the ride, if you will. But I think I'm just gonna like really just revel in how the Lord has provided a beautiful home for me and a beautiful family, and my parents are gonna be here.
Oh, cool!
And so we're gonna have a Easter dinner probably on Sunday, and and so it's just to as I'm enjoying this beautiful life that God has given me. I think it's just gonna be framed in his death and resurrection. So
right,
yeah.
And what are you gonna eat for Easter dinner?
Ooh, we decided a little bit of a change up this year for us, because this isn't something that we normally do. But we're doing turkey.
Okay.
Yeah, we're doing turkey.
Oh, yum.
Yeah, so it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
And then a turkey nap.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Did I tell you my hack for turkey?
No.
So, for those people,
Charlene, write
there,
this down.
yeah,
Charlene loves the food
okay.
wrecks.
Okay, so this is the actual prep for how we cook. So, so spatchcocking a turkey will change your life if you have.
You've told me this before.
Yes, So, just quick Google how to spatchcock a turkey. To have a delicious, moist, perfect turkey in 90 minutes, you can't beat that. That changes everything. Okay. But yeah, so the turkey dinner is laid out. This is my life hack. I will only have one plate. Like, I will jam that plate full, but I will not be having more than one plate. And I've found that, like, I'm not dying. I'm not like desperate to sleep. I'm not like, I did it again. Like that sort of thing. It's like, it's a big meal. Oftentimes I won't even finish that one plate, but I will not have any more.
You won't have, okay.
I won't have any more.
But and dessert, you'll have dessert.
Oh, of course. You have to have dessert. But yeah, I won't be going back for thirds and fourths and everything like that. And it really, it changes the day, changes the afternoon, the evening. I don't feel like I'm suffering from overeating or anything like that. So one plate.
Yeah. That just reminded me, I haven't yet picked the dessert for Sunday yet. So I better get on that.
I better get on it.
Yeah. We're going to eat lamb.
Okay. I do
Easter.
love an Easter lamb.
Yeah. So we'll have lamb.
Feels a little morbid though.
Okay, but it's
I do love it. We've done it lots.
It's remembrance.
But every time
it's literally what Easter is about.
It's true. And yeah.
And
how do you cook that lamb?
We're this year going to make a lamb leg.
Okay.
And we'll just roast it for hours.
Okay, sweet.
Very low and slow.
Yeah, okay. Nice.
So that's how we'll do it this year.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you guys do mint jelly?
We haven't, but I would love that.
You should try mint jelly with your lamb.
So I've had it. I've never made it or bought it.
Like, you should buy it. The J.D. Smith, I think, is the best one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Do the mint jelly for sure.
So let's take this real quick back to last Sunday, Palm Sunday.
Yes.
I just think, like, if we were to wrap this up, because we're talking about how do we walk out Holy Week and Passion Week, and even beyond this week.
Right.
What a remarkable thing if we worked to maintain this attitude of Palm Sunday in all the things that we did.
Yeah.
Right. And even and I don't even mean like the super celebratory part of Palm Sunday, but just like how you mentioned at the beginning, Hosanna, right? It means save now.
Yeah.
And what if I just walked my whole life with this attitude of like trusting that Jesus could do that, that he will do that, and that he's like ready to do that. Because it's like, it's this awesome thing where they were anticipating something that we already have, right? And so I just think that it's such a gift that we have been given, that we have a living Savior, right? He's not, sorry to break it to you if this is your first time listening to the Easter story, Jesus rises from the dead in a few days.
Yeah,
right? And he is alive today.
Alert.
And so we can still say that, like, whatever we're walking through, whatever we're going through, like, Jesus, like, save me now, walk with me now. And that doesn't mean no trial, but it means, like, be with me, reign over this, like, you know, rule and reign in my life and everything that I do. And I think that would prevent a lot of what we watch in Passion Week and what we do with our lives, you know, where we go back and forth between Jesus and the world. And so I would hope that we can remember, like, Hosanna in the highest, Jesus save us, walk with me, hold me, keep me, all of those kind of things.
A couple things that I find really encouraging, just about the what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe dichotomy between the inner circle of Jesus and the crowd, and how this great crowd was cheering him on, but didn't really embrace or know Jesus was. And it's like, even as believers, we can find ourselves in that crowd. We can find ourselves with this knowledge of Jesus and even able to celebrate him, but to not really allow for it to impact us. Or you can find yourself as, like the disciples, this inner circle where you know, your life is being completely directed. You're fully bought in, and you know, you're walking step by step with him to the cross as close as you can. And even within that, we have, like, Peter, you know, with his rejection and those sorts of things. So there's this humanity and there's this beauty of how his grace and his acceptance for us and his longing to be, you know, abide with us in that. But one thing I find great comfort in is it's the fact that this inner circle who literally lived their life, they eat, slept, and, like, walked every day with Jesus, even they didn't know fully what he had in store.
Yeah, they didn't get it all. Yeah.
And so how can we apply that to our lives with this, how we live this out with Jesus, but knowing that there is so much mystery around the way he does things, the way he's always done things, the way who he is in his life and his death and even his ascension and all those sorts of things. He's just like, just trust that I'm going to do this and I'm coming back. And, you know, and so we find ourselves at this day and age, 2,000 years later after Jesus' death, with that same mystery intact, with that same trust being asked of us. And what a gift it is to be in the inner circle of Jesus, you know.
Yeah, it's true.
And not in the crowd. I don't ever want to be in the crowd, and neither should you, dear listener.
All right. Merry Easter. Happy Easter, I think we say. Happy Easter. Yeah. It's coming soon.
Yeah.
So hold fast, and we'll see you guys next week.
Unpacking Sunday is a podcast of Cariboo Road Christian Fellowship Church. If you're interested in more information, please check out our website at www.crcfchurch.com.